Oh. One, two, 1, 2. All right. Hello, everybody. How we doing tonight? Welcome to the Big Blue Sports Podcast. We are live, and then right now it is 9:39 p.m. tonight. Little murky, little damp out today, but hey, the show must go on. But thank y'all so much for tuning in tonight, y'all. Got another great show for y'all tonight. I know I was absent all last week. I do apologize for that. Had to take care of some things and had some family coming into town, so I didn't really have much time to do any shows last week, but everything is back on schedule now. So without further ado, we got a lot to talk about. We got some football, basketball, and then we'll do a recap of UFC 295. We're going to be going over quite a bit tonight, so hey, be prepared. But of course, we're going to jump right into it. We're going to go over some football. Starting with college first, a lot has happened. I do want to talk about LSU's situation first. They played Alabama last week, and I got to say, man, they had a real strong shot. They looked great in the first half. They were matching Alabama blow for blow. But unfortunately, in the second half, that's just when it fell apart. I mean, Alabama was able to run the ball like the entirety of the second half, and we just couldn't stop it. Jalen Milroe went on a run, and, I mean, they didn't really have to pass the ball much. I mean, every time Alabama ran the football, they were picking up like 7-8 yards a run, and it was just aggravating, man. It was frustrating to see. And our offense became a little stagnant, and then, of course, Jaden Daniels takes a shot in the third quarter where he gets busted right in the chops, and he has to be taken out for the rest of the game for concussion protocol. And honestly, just watching that, I really thought it was a cheap shot, man. It really was. I didn't appreciate it at all. And I don't care what nobody says, that was a dirty play. And I mean, that was ridiculous. They called roughing the passer, but they didn't review it for targeting, which it met all the requirements for targeting as well, but they didn't review it like that. That shit was whack, bro. It really was. Like I was so mad. So they wound up losing 42-28. You know, it was disappointing. So we're out of the SEC title race. I mean, best we can do is get a bowl game this year. We got 2 games left in the season, just like every other college football team. Some teams have 3 games left, but only a select few. But a high majority of university college teams have 2 games left in the season. We got Georgia State this week, and then we end off the season with Texas A&M. Texas A&M actually fired Jimbo Fisher yesterday. Gave him a $70 million buyout. Can you imagine that? In 2021, they gave Jimbo a contract extension, a 10-year extension. But now they have to buy his contract out because, well, they don't like the results he's producing. So they're moving on and wanting to find something better. Which, I mean, you know, I don't know if Jimbo's going to ever want to coach again, but he's definitely not going to get a job in the SEC. I don't think many SEC teams will believe in his ability. Hey, we'll see. If I was him, I would probably just retire and enjoy the money that was paid to me. You know what I mean? But ultimately, they must go on. No idea who Texas A&M is wanting to hire. There's a long list of candidates. They haven't released the list yet, but I'm sure they're in the process of a search right now. But probably won't have a decision. They'll finish the rest of the season with the interim head coach, and then obviously after the season they'll look to see who they can find as a good replacement. And then Mississippi State also fired their head coach as well after going 4-6. You know, I mean, look, I really feel bad for the guy because he had to take over a position like right away because Mike Leach, who was the former coach, he had passed away. And so somebody had to step in the role immediately and take his place, and it was a lot to deal with. I mean, he did the best he could, but I mean, unfortunately, it wasn't the result they were looking for. So they're deciding to move on already. But I mean, like I said, I do feel bad for the guy. He had it. He was put in a tough situation where we want you to succeed right away. I mean, he had to take over just like just in a snap like that. I mean, it could be hard for anybody to take over a new job position that quickly. But I mean, I'm hoping the guy. I'm hoping the guy does find another place of work. I really do, and we're going to be given like a good opportunity to help a program out, whether it be a coordinator or a head coaching job. Yeah, that was 2 weeks ago. So going to this week, man, it was quite a bit of good games and a couple blowout games. So Georgia played Ole Miss. Georgia mopped the floor with them. It was like 52-17. It wasn't even close. So Georgia is now on a 27-game win streak. They will more than likely play Alabama in the SEC title game because Alabama is undefeated in the SEC, just like Georgia is. Their only loss is to Texas. And Texas has kind of struggled a little bit as well, but they have yet to lose a game so far. They got a tough matchup this week against did they play Washington? I don't know. I'll have to look at it again. But I mean, 2 games left in the season, y'all. It's crazy. But the same four teams are still in the top 4. You have Ohio State, Georgia, Florida State, and Michigan. Now, Michigan and Ohio State will play each other the last game of the regular season, which will always determine who will remain in the playoffs and who will not. Now, if either one of those teams loses, and Washington's number 5, so if they win their game this week, well, they have to win their last 2 games if they want to have a chance to take the number 3 or number 4 spot. That's their only chance. If not, then either the team that are 6 or 7 will move up and take that 4 spot. So, I mean, these last 2 weeks of college football will be really important. But LSU has been becoming bowl eligible. But, guys, in order to become bowl eligible in college football, you have to at least win 6 games. So you have to finish the season at least 6-6 if you at least want to become bowl eligible to play in a bowl game at the end of the year. Which the first bowl games will usually start around the middle of December, and then they'll keep going, and then they'll go a little bit past January. But the last bowl game should be like in the second to last week of January, and then the national championship game will be in the end of January or early February, and then followed by the Super Bowl in February as well. Yeah. Man, it's been an interesting season, guys, to say the least. I don't know about y'all, but I've had fun this year. I mean, there's been so many downs, but at the end of the day, you rock with your team, you do what you can, you support them, thick and through, even though they could be so much better, or damn, man, we just missed it. If we made this one play, we could have won. I know. I've seen many of those. Trust me. I feel your pain. I feel your frustration. And guys, I was actually at the LSU Florida game this past Saturday, and it was a blast, y'all. It was so awesome being able to see Jaden Daniels and the offense just flourish live and in person. I mean, they torched Florida, man, especially in the second half. But LSU won 45-35, or excuse me, 52-35. Their offense was just so dominant in the second half. Their defense had no chance. Jaden Daniels had over 200 yards rushing and over 300 yards passing. Pretty much he accumulated over 600 yards of offense just with him alone, which is insane. I'm glad he's in the conversation for Heisman now because he needs to be. Jaden Daniels is playing his tail off. He's probably one of the best quarterbacks in the country. And he deserves his recognition, man. He really does. I hope he becomes a Heisman finalist. That would be awesome to see. I mean, the other Heisman finalists are Michael Phoenix Jr. from Washington, who's been playing really well. Caleb Williams will probably be in there, and Bo Nix for the quarterback for Oregon. I know people have been talking about them a lot, but I mean, Jaden should be in there for sure. I really do believe that he's had a great season this year. He's playing fantastic football. I mean, you can't look at the team as a whole and say, I mean, yeah, LSU is 7-3. They lost 3 games, but you got to see the effort that this man is putting in to keep his team successful. Jaden doesn't play defense. He can't do everything. So you can't blame those 3 losses on him. I mean, the one I would blame was Florida State, but Florida State's a really good football team. We see that now. I mean, they're in the top 4 in college football. He had a fantastic game against Ole Miss, and he probably would have had a great game against Alabama if he didn't get hurt. But I mean, it is what it is. I hope they don't overlook it. I didn't like the fact that they say J.J. McCarthy should be in the Heisman watch. That's Michigan's quarterback. J.J. McCarthy hasn't done jack shit. Yeah, he's had a couple good games, but they've had like a cupcake of a schedule, which means they haven't really played anybody. They played their first ranked opponent this past weekend, Penn State. They demolished Penn State. Well, I wouldn't say demolished. They beat them 24-15, but they ran the ball extremely well against Penn State. But I mean, that was their first victory over a ranked team this year, and they won't play another one until the last week of the season when they play Ohio State, which is a huge rivalry game. But I mean, he doesn't deserve to be in there. I mean, kudos to Michigan for having another great year, but come on, man. Like he's not putting up numbers, not like Jaden Daniels is. Not even close. Let's see here. Yeah, but LSU will have Georgia State this weekend. I do believe that LSU will finish 9-3, finish with a good record, and then participate in a good bowl game this year. I mean, that's as best as they're going to get. But hey, like I said, y'all, I was happy to see my team live and in person. Our offenses was terrific as always. I mean, of course, the defense had problems, but man, I will say Matt House. I mean, he does deserve most of the responsibility for what is going on with the defense because it's his scheme, his plays. He's calling the defensive formation. And, I mean, yeah, look, the players have made mistakes, missed tackles and stuff, but you're calling the plays and calling certain coverages of what you think the offense is going to do. Well, so far, most of the zone pass coverage that you have called has not worked very well. Because teams have been able to get in the middle of the field or just do simple out routes or dump offs, and then they pick up 7 to 10 yards, and that's not really acceptable. You got to attack the ball. You got to be in certain spots, certain situations to prevent that. Now, if you I would understand if you give up an occasional 8-9 yards like every other play, like on maybe second down, or they convert and they pick up another 8-9 yards on third, like when it's like third down or whatever, or second, But it's not like every single play, like first, second, and third down, they're picking up anywhere between 5 to 8 yards of play. That's not good. Our defense has given up so many big plays this year. Now, granted, we got 3 to 4 freshmen on the defensive side this year, but that's not an excuse. You guys brought these players in. You saw the talent that they had, and you got to do your best to utilize them. And then that's when it becomes a coaching problem. They say, well, they're not utilizing these players to the best of their ability. They recruited these players. You got to stick with them. You got to work with them, which, they will. But, you have to – to this season, we have to be patient. I do expect greater things will happen next season. I do believe. I mean, I know Jaden will be going to the draft this year, but I believe we'll be fine at quarterback. I do believe that Nussmeier will be the future next year going forward, which I'm all for. I mean, Nussmeier is not really a great runner of the football, but he is a great pocket passer. He makes quick, fast decisions, and he's got a rocket of an arm. Like, he can zing that thing, man. He's got good football IQ as well. He knows when to throw it away. He knows it's like, man, if I can't force it here, it's not going to work. But, ultimately at the end of the day, y'all, I mean, we did the best we can. LSU did the best they could this year. I mean, I know it wasn't the results we were looking for, but I mean, as Brian Kelly said, we're working with what we got, and this is it. And we're gonna play the season to the best of our ability and see where we can go. Which, I mean, he was honest and straightforward about it, But hey, it is what it is, man. I'm gonna support LSU thick and through, and I know that every other LSU fan that's watching this right now, I know you'll do the same. We gotta believe in Brian Kelly and his process, and I do believe great things will come to the football program going forward. Yeah. Of course, yeah. And of course, Washington won, Alabama won as well. They played Missouri, beat them up pretty good. Well, I'm sorry, that was last week. They played Missouri, and then they played Kentucky. I'm sorry, they played LSU last week, and then they played Kentucky this week. Which, unfortunately, Kentucky has fallen off a good bit. I mean, they had one of the best rushing attacks in FBS. They've just kind of fallen off, man. Like, I don't know what it is. Their offense isn't very productive. Their defense is just giving up way too many big plays. I mean, Alabama was able to march up and down the field against Kentucky for pretty much the whole game. They did win that game like 49-21 or something like that. Like, it wasn't even close. Then, man, it's crazy, man. I really wanted Ole Miss to beat Georgia, but unfortunately it didn't happen. Ole Miss didn't stand a chance. So now Ole Miss is eliminated from SEC title contention. So now, I mean, more than likely it'll be Georgia and Alabama for the SEC title game, and that will really determine who will make it into the college football playoff. Because if Alabama does win and beats them, then they could make it up in the top four again, with just being a one-loss team. It would be a great game to watch, because Alabama's kind of like just been cakewalking everybody they played against so far, and I do want to see how they fare up against Georgia. It's going to be a great game for sure. Of course, Georgia has 2 games left. So does Alabama. They should be able to win both of those teams should be able to win their last 2 games easily. Florida State, I commend them. I mean, Jordan Travis has had a fantastic year. He's also in the Heisman conversation as well. He's playing great football. He's leading the offense really well. I mean, Florida State's got studs on offense, man. Keon Coleman, probably one of their best receivers. He's tall. He's got a great frame. Like, man, he uses his body to his advantage, and that's what you need to do for football. I mean, that's great football IQ. He goes up and gets the ball. He outmaneuvers, outmuscles defenders. I mean, he's a smart football player, man. He has a bright future ahead of him for sure. Yeah, but more on the college matchups coming on Thursday night show. But the last thing I want to go over with college football is I know Michigan is under investigation right now for alleged sign stealing. Jim Harbaugh has been suspended for the last 3 games of the regular season, but he's going to appeal to the Big Ten on Friday to make his case or have his case heard. Because I mean, honestly, man, the whole situation is just ridiculous. I mean, sign stealing. I mean, come on, man. I know probably every college, university, everybody does it. I mean, does it help? Is it beneficial for you to know like the certain signs that opponents call for you to have the advantage? I mean, yeah, I guess, but I mean, again, other teams can just make adjustments, switch out, call a different play if they suspect anything like that. But I mean, look, this is like the whole Houston Astros thing all over again. Like it's just, I mean, look, I like I like Jim Harbaugh. I think he's a fantastic coach. His players love him. His coaching staff loves him. The university loves him. The university is sticking by with him, even and the Michigan's athletic director as well. Honestly, I really don't know how the situation is going to turn out. I mean, are people going to call Michigan cheaters? Are they going to hate on them for the rest of the year, saying you don't deserve to be in this position? I mean, I mean, like I said, to me, look, if they would have known the signs, like not if they were stealing signs from opposing teams, like knew what play they were calling, they would be blowing teams out the water. Which they didn't do that against Penn State last week. They only beat Penn State by 9. The team they played the week before, yeah, it was kind of a big score. They won by 2 or 3 touchdowns. But still, I mean, if you knew the opposing team's signals and what plays they were calling, you should be able to blow teams out and not allow them to score at all, which that didn't happen. Now, granted, you could say they probably didn't want to make it obvious, so they wanted to keep the games close, so it doesn't look like they were actually knowing what plays they were calling, and then just all that other crap. But I mean, yeah, it does kind of messes up the integrity of football because football is about skill versus skill, player versus player, coach versus coach. Coach is a better leader of men, who can call the better plays, and do you have the right personnel to fit in situations that you want to whatever situation calls for. I mean, after they won against Penn State, the interim head coach for Michigan, he had a very emotional interview with one of the reporters after the game, saying how much he loves the players, he loves the staff. He gave a shout out to Jim Harbaugh, saying how much he loves him, he appreciates him. So I mean, I generally don't think he's a bad dude, but I mean, to me, it just seems like they really want to come after Michigan for some reason. I don't know. It's like, do they want Jim Harbaugh out of there? Do they not like him? Is he kind of like getting on, like rubbing him off the wrong? Is he rubbing off certain people the wrong way, and they just want him out of there? I don't know. That could be the case, but I mean, at the end of the day, Michigan's winning. They're successful. See how they play this weekend, and then of course they have the big matchup next week against Ohio State. Next week is Turkey Week, y'all. So gobble gobble. The 23rd will be the official Thanksgiving Day. Oh, and my birthday is this weekend, y'all. This Saturday, November 18th, I will be turning 26. I know, I'm getting old. I'm gonna be an old ass man. Nah, but hey, I've been blessed to live 26 great years on this good earth. I wouldn't trade it for anything else. All the people, all the memories I've made can never be replaced. Never. But yeah. I mean, with just 2 weeks left in the college football season, anything can happen. Man, I'm excited. College football playoff is right around the corner. Now, guys, we're going to transition into some NFL football. Week 10. So week 10 just happened. So we had the game last night between the Broncos and the Bills. Broncos wound up winning 24-22. God, that was a very interesting game to say the least. Buffalo struggled yet again. They actually fired their offensive coordinator today, Ken Dorsey, which I believe was the right move because because they have too good of an offense to be scoring to be like barely be scoring 20 to 24 points. Buffalo is capable of scoring 35 points or more. That's how good their offense is. And honestly, their offense has been they have performed very poorly the last 3 weeks. And I think Buffalo management was noticing that, so they've decided to make a change. Buffalo has lost their last two. They lost to Cincinnati last week on Sunday Night Football, and they lost last night to the Denver Broncos. They had the game won. Josh Allen scored with a plenty amount of just a little bit over a minute left in the game. So the Buffalo's defense had to make a stop. And of course it didn't happen. Which I give credit to the Broncos. Russell Wilson played really well. Javonte Williams had a really great game. He was very beneficial in the passing game. But Russ looked like the original Russ from Seattle in the game last night. He was scrambling around. He was moving around the pocket, extending the play. He looked like vintage Russ. And it was up to Russ to lead his team down the field and take the lead. Really, the game could have been tied at that point, but unfortunately, when Denver scored before Buffalo scored, the holder botched the snap on the point after attempt, so they never were able to get the point after attempt in. So that's why it was 22-21, because they both had 15, but like I said, Denver just messed up on the point after attempt, and then of course Buffalo scored. They made the point after, and they were up by 1, but there was a little too much time left on the clock. So Russell Wilson had one last drive, and he led his team down the field. I mean, Buffalo's defense committed too many mistakes on that last drive. I mean, they got called for pass interference against Jerry Jeudy, which put the Broncos on the 17-yard line, right in field goal position. And you're like, well, damn, all the Broncos have to do is just kneel it, run out the clock, because neither team has no more timeouts left. Well, Buffalo had like one left. And then they did that. And then the Broncos had no timeouts left. So what they did was they kneeled it on third down, and then they immediately rushed the field goal unit out to the team. Like, they got out there super quick. It was executed really well. So you got fourth down. They have no timeouts. Denver they're setting up for the field goal to go for the win. Well, it was a good snap, good hold. Will Lutz lines up the kick well. He misses it to the right. However, though, Buffalo was called for 12 men on the field when they attempted the kick. That is a 5-yard penalty. So the clock stops with 2 seconds left, and now Denver Broncos have one more shot to kick a field goal. And as Buffalo fans were watching this, they were so utterly disgusted, because the game was won right there, because Will Lutz missed it to the right. But because Buffalo had too many 12 men on the field, the Denver Broncos were given another chance, and it was just so gut-wrenching, because Will Lutz made it on the second attempt, and they got the win. They won 24-22. So the Buffalo Bills are now 5-5, and the Broncos are 4-5. They're actually still out of the playoff race right now in the AFC. There's a lot of good teams playing in the AFC right now with good records. So if they want to have a chance of making it into the playoffs, they got to hope they win their next 3 to 4 games. Otherwise, they're going to be watching the playoffs from their television screens at home. That is a fact. Then we had the Sunday night game between the Jets and the Raiders. And my God, that game was so boring. I'm just gonna say it, man. It was so boring. I mean, the first touchdown wasn't scored until the fourth quarter by the Raiders. It was caught by Mayers, their tight end. Good throw by O'Connell. I mean, it was Zach Wilson versus O'Connell. I mean, because Jimmy Garoppolo has been benched for the rest of the year because he's been playing horrible. I'll give it to O'Connell though; he's been playing really well. I mean, he makes his mistakes, but he does his job. He gets the ball out where it needs to go. Devontae had a much better game too against the Jets. He didn't get a touchdown, but he got a good amount of receptions. His receiving yards were great as well. But the game, it was 16-12 was the final. The Jets didn't score a single touchdown. It was nothing but field goals for Greg Zuerlein. And you got to think, like, man, what is going on? The Jets have gone at least over 40, 50 drives without scoring a touchdown. That's crazy, man. They don't plan on making a change of quarterback. They're going to ride out with Zach Wilson. Man, what other options do you have? The trade deadline's over. I'm sure they wanted to trade for a quarterback, but who could they have gotten? I mean, Aaron Rodgers is expected to come back in mid-December. Already from he ruptured his Achilles in week 1 against Buffalo, and he could be coming back this year in December. That would be huge for the Jets because their defense is still playing really good ball. Their defense has not really given up a lot of yardage, a lot of points. I mean, the Jets lose just because their defense is out on the field for so long. They can only do so much. And it could be something, that the offense gives up. Like Zach Wilson, he could turn the ball over, get a fumble, I mean, look, I want to give Zach Wilson the benefit of the doubt, but he's just not a good quarterback. He's really not. He's only had one good game this year, and that was against the Kansas City Chiefs on Sunday Night Football about 3 or 4 weeks ago. That was probably the best game he's had of his career, but he hasn't been able to replicate it. Now, it could be the offensive coordinator, and it could be the players around him that are just not performing to the ability as they should. Like Garrett Wilson is probably the only productive offensive talent that they have. Breece Hall gets his carries. He gets his good runs every now and then, but Breece Hall just really hasn't been able to get really into the second level. He had like 3 or 4 good runs against the Raiders, but Zach needs help around him. Not to mention they've been dealing with offensive line troubles. So that could be another reason why their offense is struggling. But the Jets are 4-5. They're just one game out of playoff contention. But like I said, they really have to step it up in the next 2 or 3 weeks if they want to have a chance of making the playoffs. Right now we're through 10 weeks in the NFL season, y'all. The Ravens are in the leaders of the AFC North. The Chiefs are the leaders of the AFC West. The Jaguars are the leaders of the AFC South. And then, of course, you have the Dolphins are leaders of the AFC East. With of course, the Bills in second, and the Jets are third, and the Patriots are last. Oh man, it's crazy to see. Patriots have been horrible this year, man, but they're not the worst team in football. The Panthers are. The Panthers have only won 1 game so far this year, and that was actually against the Houston Texans, who The Houston Texans have won their last 2 games. They beat Cincinnati this week off a last-second field goal. They won 30-27. Then they beat the Tampa Bay Buccaneers the week before when C.J. Stroud had a 5 passing touchdown game. My man popped off. Texans are coming up, man. They're right behind the Jaguars. And I do believe the Jaguars, they're probably just 1 game behind the Jaguars right now. They could easily take over the AFC South if they want to. I don't see the Titans or the Colts. The Colts could, but it's a long shot. The AFC South is going to come down between either the Jaguars or the Texans. C.J. Stroud's been playing really good football. I cannot deny that. He's on pace to win Offensive Rookie of the Year for sure. Yeah, but that was the next game I was going to get into. Well, you had the late games. Seattle against, the Seahawks against the Commanders, the Falcons against the Cardinals. Man, there were two more as well. Oh yeah, the Cowboys and the Giants, which the Cowboys won easily. No surprise there. Man, the Giants, man, poor Giants, man. They've been a disappointment this year, but it's not Brian Daboll's fault. The Giants have just been ridiculed with so many injuries. They're hurt in almost every position, man. They're down to their 3rd string quarterback in Tommy DeVito. And then, Saquon's not even playing right now either. It's just been a bad year for the Giants, man. It really has. So the Giants are at the bottom, of course. And everybody's been hyping up Dak, because of how well he's played over the last 4 or 5 games. But yeah, look at the teams he's played against. He's played against garbage teams. Of course, he's able to put up these numbers. God, they play the Panthers this week. The Cowboys will play against the Panthers. That's the worst team in football. It would be a shock to everybody if the Panthers are able to beat the Cowboys, but that's not going to happen. The Cowboys, the Cowboys defense has been playing really well. Yeah, Dak has been putting up good numbers, but I want him to do it against a team that's really good, like San Francisco, like the Eagles. I will admit, though, he did have a good game against the Eagles. Oh, wow. Sorry. Thought I was about to sneeze. My bad. Dak did have a good game against the Eagles. He didn't turn the ball over or nothing like that. But, they just they lost that game because, Jalen Hurts and the Philadelphia Eagles offense was just better that day. Now, it will be interesting to see what will the outcome be when they play each other again, but this time it will be at Jerry World at Dallas. Dallas could win. Dallas could beat them at their home turf. It could happen, but we shall see. Honestly, and look, it was great. Look, I'm definitely going to be watching that game for sure. Let's hope that Dallas can at least even out the series this year. Because if the Eagles are able to sweep the Cowboys, the Cowboys fans will never be able to live it down, man. The Eagles fans will make fun of them for a long time if they sweep Dallas, which I don't think will happen. I think Dallas will come and play much better and much harder when they come and play at home against the Eagles. And of course, the Cardinals played against the Falcons. It was a back and forth game. Taylor Heineke actually got hurt in the second quarter, and then Desmond Ridder had to come in and fill in, which he did good. He let his offense down. They took the lead late in the game, but Unfortunately, this was the week that Kyler Murray officially came back, y'all. Kyler Murray came back from his injury this week. He started for the Arizona Cardinals. He actually played a really good game. It wasn't spectacular, but it was a good game. Kyler drove his team down the field, and they kicked the game-winning field goal, won 25-23. And it was another close loss for the Falcons, which puts the Falcons at 4-6. They're now third in the NFC South. Bucks are second, and of course the Saints are first. Ugh. I'm gonna talk about that game in a second. Man, what a wild week, man. Oh yeah. And then the Lions and the Chargers. That was a fantastic game. That was a high explosive offensive game throughout, man. It was awesome. Justin Herbert got busted in the mouth. He was bleeding. But 2 plays later, he just throws a strike to Keenan Allen, which Keenan Allen, I give my props to him. He had a monstrous game against the Detroit Lions. He had over 160 yards receiving, 2 to 3 touchdown receptions. My man was balling. And he reached over 10,000 career receiving yards. He's one of the youngest receivers to have reached 10,000 receiving yards in NFL history. I give my props to Keenan Allen. He's a great receiver. But unfortunately, the Chargers could not come out with the victory. The Detroit Lions were able to drive down the field, kick a game-winning field goal to win 34-31, and they are now 7-2. They are the second best team in the NFC, behind the Philadelphia Eagles, who are 8-1. The Eagles will be coming off their bye week, so they're well refreshed. They are well rested. And then it was great, man. I mean, both Jared Goff and Justin Herbert just played their tails off, man. It was phenomenal. Jared Goff made smart decisions. He didn't turn the ball over. He got the ball to his playmakers, and he had great help from a 2-headed monster in the backfield, Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery, who I think, in my opinion, that's the best running back duo in football, is Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery. You can make the argument for Raheem Mostert and Achane, but man, I mean, Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery, they're great runners of the football, man. They really are. They both had a rushing touchdown in that game, which is crazy. Montgomery had a 75-yard touchdown, and then Jahmyr Gibbs had like a 49, 50-yard rushing touchdown. So but Jahmyr Gibbs got more of the reps, which is understandable. Jahmyr's been the main workhorse for the Detroit Lions for the last few weeks because Montgomery was out with a rib injury, but he's back and fully healthy now. So I do believe they'll continue to this shared usage of running the football, but I do believe that Jahmyr Gibbs will get a little bit more touches than David Montgomery. But hey, man, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And the Seahawks and the Commanders played. That game came down to the wire. Geno had a great game against the Commanders. He let his team down. They scored late, but Washington still had an opportunity. And Sam Howell, he did not give up, man. He drove his team right down the field, threw it to a rookie receiver. That was his first reception, and he went 36 yards for a touchdown score. I mean, what a way to start your career, huh? With a big score like that. I give my props out to him. But man, he did. I mean, they tied it up with less than 40 seconds in the game. But however, there was still time for Seattle. Seattle still had 2 timeouts left. And Geno, don't write him off. But man, he did it thanks to the help of Tyler Lockett and DK Metcalf. DK Metcalf caught the key reception where he just went 20, 30 yards, dragging people. got them in field goal range, and Seattle was able to come up with the victory 29-26, which now the Seahawks are tied with the 49ers at 6-3. But I do believe San Francisco will win the division because after watching how they played against the Jaguars, oh my Lord, they're back, y'all. The 49ers are back. After coming off their bye week, they look like the old 49ers that we saw week 1. Their defensive pass rush is insane. With Chase Young on one side and Nick Bosa on the other, bro, Trevor Lawrence had no chance. No chance. The final was 34-3. Brock Purdy had a tremendous game. Almost 300 yards of passing. 296 is what he finished with. 3 tutties. No interceptions, which was great because he had thrown 2 interceptions in the last 2 games they played before going into the bye week. So he's definitely improved his game for sure. The 49ers look like the old 49ers when the week first started. But like I said, they're 6-3. They're tied with the Seahawks. So it'll definitely come down to this last stretch of the season who will win the division. But I do believe Seattle will get a playoff spot in the NFC for sure. Man, what a crazy game, huh? Yeah, but now we're going to go over a little bit of the 12 o'clock games. Of course, I'm going to talk about the Saints and the Vikings. I won't talk about it long because the more I think about it, the more frustrated I am to talk about it. But nonetheless, I mean, what happened, man, that was terrible. I mean, that was just terrible all the way around. Josh Dobbs, who's only been there for 2 weeks with the team, we made him look like a damn superstar out there. It was 24-3 going into halftime. Like our offense could not get going for shit. Derek Carr was not playing well. The offensive play calling was it wasn't there. And then we get the ball to start the second half. Of course, we stale on the opening drive. Then Minnesota goes down and kicks a field goal. That was the last point. That was the only points that the Vikings get in the second half. Our defense completely switched and did not allow a touchdown at all in the second half, which is great, phenomenal. Unfortunately, though, Derek Carr took a nasty shot from Danielle Hunter, wound up having to leave the game. So Jameis Winston came in to take over. And when Jameis got in there, he did great. He came in. He was leading the offense. Our offense was flourishing. We scored on back-to-back drives. And next thing you know, it's a one-possession game. But unfortunately, though, once it became a one-possession game, the Vikings were tightening up their defense. They were not slouching anymore. They were coming after the football. The defensive coordinator, Brian Flores, for the Minnesota Vikings, he was bringing the heat on Jameis because he did not want the Saints to come back. Which we had our opportunities. We really did. We had our opportunities to drive down the field and score, tie it up at least. But no, the Jameis started to fold as we got closer to the end of the game. It was a third down. They send a blitz. The middle linebacker comes right up the middle and hits Jameis, and then Jameis sees it and he just heaves it up to the right side of the field and hopes and prays that somebody will come down with it. Somebody did, but it was the Vikings. He got picked off on that third down play, but we still had time. We still had time to go down the field and score. We stopped them again. We got the ball back. We stalled, and I'm like, well, you're like, damn, what can we do? So the Minnesota Vikings get the ball back. We stop them again, and then they kick the ball back to us. So we have one more chance. We have one last possession to get into the end zone. Jameis was doing it great, and then unfortunately, what did Brian Flores do? It was a second down. He sends pressure. Off the left side. Jameis feels it, and he just slings it over the middle of the field. And he gets picked off again. He throws it right into double coverage, man. And then that was all she wrote. And I'm like, bro, like, Jameis, you're a professional quarterback, man. You got to understand and read when pressure is coming to you. You can't just automatically just get rid of the football when you feel pressure coming to you. You got to be able to see it, identify it, make adjustments at the line, or you can move around the pocket, avoid him, and then you can either take off and run or throw the ball away if there's nothing there and live to fight another play or live to fight another down. But don't just force it and heave it up anywhere you can where you see somebody where you think is open just because you're feeling the pressure. I mean, that's not going to work in the NFL, man. It's not. You gotta learn. You gotta understand. You gotta be aware of what is happening around you. I mean, it was just disappointing, man, because we were right there. I mean, we were right there. We just couldn't get it done, and we lost 27-19. Look, I give my hats off to Joshua Dobbs. He's been playing really great football. He was the Cardinals quarterback taking over for Kyler. He played pretty well for the Cardinals. I mean, the Cardinals are 2-8. They just got their second win this week against the Falcons. But I mean, granted, Josh Dobbs was still playing really well. I give my hats off to him. But man, look, our defense did a great job of only allowing 3 points in the second half. But man, I don't understand the play calling, man. We abandoned the run game completely and just had Jameis throw the ball on the last 2-3 possessions. Why are we doing that? We got a great running back in the backfield. We should never abandon the run. If all we do is pass, then the defense can make adjustments to that, and we won't be able to move the football as well. I just don't know why they abandoned the running game in the last 3 possessions. I don't know why. I mean, or at least get Alvin involved into the passing game to where he can be beneficial, to where he can help. But it was just a disappointing loss, man. It really was. We really needed to win that game. But we are 5. The Saints are 5-5. We are still on top of the NFC. I don't know how. I mean, our team has been very mediocre this year, and I hate to say that, but I mean, look, we got 7 games left in the regular season. Their next 7 games are pretty fairly easy. Their next toughest game will, in my opinion, will be the Detroit Lions, who are they're the second best team in the NFC. That's going to be a tough game. I'll be going to that game too, actually, with a couple buddies. So, hey, cheers. We're going to have a good time. Oh, boy. Man, I'll tell you what's crazy, man. All 4 teams in the AFC North have a playoff spot. Isn't that crazy? The Ravens, the Steelers, who are 6-3, by the way, they won against the Packers, which kudos to them. I mean, Mike Tomlin is he's proving once again how great of a coach he is. Everybody thought that their offense would be so bad that they would have to rely on their defense so much. I mean, they do have a great defense. T.J. Watt is just phenomenal. He's fantastic. But, bro, I mean, that was insane. Oh, man. I mean, look, the Steelers are 6-3. The Browns are 5-3, and the Bengals are 5-3 as well. So all 4 teams in the AFC North have a playoff spot. It's insane, man. That's one of the toughest divisions in football. The Ravens are on top right now, but if they lose one more game, then the Steelers can easily overtake them, because the Steelers are only 1 game behind them. The Steelers will actually play against the Browns this week. So it's a big game for both teams. And speaking of the Browns, they won a close game against the Ravens. The Ravens were up by 14 in the fourth quarter. They blew the 14-point lead. Greg Newsome got a pick six, which got the game to 1 point. And then next thing you know, the Browns were able to make a stop, and they kicked the game-winning field goal to win 33-31. I mean, it was a really tight-knit game, man. The Browns just kept fighting and fighting. Lamar didn't really have his best game against the Browns. But hey, they were still. I mean, it was kept close. It was a great rivalry matchup to see. It was a big wake up call for the Ravens too. They were on a red hot winning streak right now, or at the moment they were. But yeah, man, it's crazy, man, to see 4 teams in one division make the playoffs is insane. Yeah, the Bengals did lose to the Houston Texans, but the Bengals are a much better team than they were when they first started. They went 0-3, and they went on a good winning streak. This was their first loss in a while. But I do believe they will bounce back for sure. Okay. And then, guys, one more game I'm going to talk about, the Colts and the Patriots. That was the early game. Well, and I'll go over the Thursday night game as well that happened. Yeah, the Colts and the Patriots, that game was played in Frankfurt, Germany. It was a very low-scoring affair, and the Patriots were just absolutely putrid. I mean, Mac Jones was so horrible. They benched him. They put in Bailey Zappi, and Bailey Zappi wasn't any better. I mean, they're just a bad football team, y'all. And it's so sad to see that from a Bill Belichick-led team. I mean, honestly, Bill Belichick, this could be his last year in New England. Like, he could be seeing his way out the door after this year. Which, I mean, I wouldn't blame him. I mean, he's done so much with the organization. Is he getting exposed for saying that he was only great because he had Tom Brady? Maybe, maybe not. I mean, he did lead the Patriots to the playoffs with Mac Jones, but it hasn't happened. That happened back in 2019. That was in 2019, and he hasn't been able to lead them to the playoffs ever since. That was actually the last time they made it was 2019. And you hate to see it too, man. I mean, Bill Belichick's been coaching for the Patriots for so long, and I think this is his last year in New England. 2-7 is a hard pill to swallow. I mean, they're going on their bye week this week, and granted, they've been dealing with injuries at the wide receiver position, but still, man, even when everybody was healthy, they played. They should have been able to play at a much higher level. But they're hurt. They're hurt a lot on defense, man. They got a good amount of defensive players that are hurt. But hey, the Colts were able to win 10-6. It wasn't a pretty game, but a win is a win, I guess. I mean, the Colts didn't look much better either. And then the Thursday night game, which was another it was a very painful game to watch as well. It was the Chicago Bears and the Carolina Panthers. Of course, the Bears won. They won 16-10. It was a pretty ugly game. But Chicago was able to get their first touchdown. A lot of field goals were made between both teams. But man, it was. I will give credit though to the Carolina Panthers punt returner. He scored the first touchdown of the game on a punt return, 87 yards. It was awesome. Rookie too. He played his tail off, man. Yeah, but the Bears were able to pick up their third win of the year. They're at the bottom of the NFC North, though. They haven't really been playing well this year. They got Chicago has Detroit this week at Ford Field, and feel bad for Chicago. I mean, Detroit's about to put a number on them, man. Really is. Detroit's going to come in there swinging. They're gonna keep up their momentum. They're going to keep up that momentum for a good amount of weeks to come. Oh man. But yeah. I mean, it was the primetime games this week were very interesting. I mean, not really great teams. The Monday night one though was a surprise. I mean, I couldn't believe the Buffalo Bills. They lost their second straight game. They look, something's wrong with them. I don't know what it is, but they're just not playing at their caliber. But hopefully, they can find a better offensive coordinator to help get their mind right, to help get the offense flowing again as it once did. Excuse me. But we'll talk more about the matchups coming up for NFL on Thursday night show. So make sure y'all tune in for that. All right, guys. Time to move on to our next segment. But first, I want to give a shout out to the Texas Rangers. Texas Rangers became World Series champs. Not last week, but the week before. They beat the Arizona Diamondbacks 4-2, claiming their first World Series title in their 63 years as a franchise. So I give my hats off to them. Jonah Heim wound up winning World Series MVP. He had a fantastic batting average in the World Series. He had like a 360, 365 batting average in the World Series. He was great, man. He played phenomenal. Not just him either. Corey Seager, Max Scherzer, Adolis Garcia. Like, that team is loaded with talent, man. But I give my congratulations to them. The MLB also had their awards show last night as well. Corbin Carroll won. He won Rookie of the Year for the Diamondbacks. He's actually the first rookie in Diamondbacks history to win the award. Diamondbacks have never had a rookie baseball player win the award. But Corbin Carroll was the first. He had a great season. But hey, congrats to the Rangers. I know the state of Texas is happy. Hope they have a great season next year. Baseball, like I said, baseball will start around March with spring training, and then April is when the season will officially begin. And then March to October will begin. It was a great season. It was a fantastic season, y'all. The playoffs were something else. All the best teams in the playoffs, like the teams that had the first round bye, they were knocked out immediately by wild card teams, which is impressive. You know, the Rangers went on a great run. The Diamondbacks did the same, and then it was just who wants it more. And I just believe that the Rangers wanted it more. They were swinging the bat so much better than the Diamondbacks were. They really were, except for that one game, of course. Where the actually it was 4-1. 4-1. I'm sorry, not 4-2. 4-1. It came down to 5 games. But yeah, just wanted to give a quick shout out to the Texas Rangers. Congratulations to them. But guys, so we're gonna move over to basketball. And then after basketball, I'll talk a little bit of UFC 295, and then I'll probably call it a night there. So season's going strong. Each NBA team is about a little over 20 games in, either at 20 or 21 games so far. It's been a great season so far. The 76ers are off to a great start. The Celtics are playing really well. Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown are playing like a great duo as they should. The 76ers are playing well without James Harden. Ever since losing the season opener, they've gone on an 8-1 run without James Harden, by the way. James Harden is not happy. He doesn't want to play for the 76ers. He wants to play elsewhere. But now he has gone played with the Clippers. So, hey, I don't know. Hey, Doc Rivers for the 76ers. Hey, man, he's doing a great job. I hope they can keep it up. But the 76ers and Celtics, two best teams in basketball. Milwaukee is keeping up the pace with Giannis and Damian Lillard playing really well together. I mean, Damian's kind of struggled the last game, but Giannis is still like pushing forward really well. I think Damian will clean it up. It's still early in the season, a lot more basketball to go, so I wouldn't be too worried about it. Yeah, man. And of course, you had LeBron and the Lakers. The Lakers have struggled on the road. Let's see. The Warriors and the Timberwolves are playing. The Nuggets and the Clippers are playing. The Lakers and the Grizzlies are at halftime. Yeah, the Grizzlies have been a disappointment, man. They're not playing really good. The Lakers. Yeah, Lakers are 5-5. They haven't been playing well either. They were 0-5 in road games so far this year. So hopefully they can clean that up. But they're up 74-51 on the Grizzlies in halftime. While the Nuggets and the Clippers and the Warriors and the Timberwolves are still in the third quarter. Yeah, man. Teams have gotten off to a good start so far. Let's see. Go over more. No, why did it click on that? Oh, there we go. Yep. So we got the Mavericks and Wizards playing tomorrow. Celtics and 76ers. Bucks and Raptors. Knicks against the Hawks. Magic against the Bulls. Timberwolves and the Suns. Cavaliers and the Trailblazers. Kings will take on the Lakers. This is all tomorrow. And then the rest will be third. You got 2 Thursday games: the Nets against the Heat, and then the Thunder against the Warriors. They're doing the in-season tournament right now, which is a new thing they're wanting to do. The Warriors, it's something new they started this season, which I like it. I think it's great. Now, granted, some of the courts look a little iffy in my opinion, or the designs at least. But the Lakers are playing on a new court this year, and there's a video of LeBron actually testing out to see if it's beneficial or not. Good news. He gave a stamp of approval. He likes it. Pelicans ain't doing too bad. I mean, they lost against the Mavericks, 136-124. But ultimately, I mean, they've been playing good basketball, man. I mean, they actually were playing tonight because I had a buddy of mine post video of them playing at the Smoothie King Center tonight. Let's check it out. Let's see. Okay. So they will play Friday. They'll play Friday against the Nuggets. So today they did play against the Mavericks again today. They won 131-110. So that's good, man. That's good. But they'll play again on Friday at 7:00 against the Nuggets. That's going to be a tough game. The Nuggets are one of the best. The Nuggets are one of the best teams in basketball with Nikola Jokic, Jamal Murray, all them good guys. And their coach is fixing to get a contract extension. He could be the highest paid coach in NBA history, which I'm not surprised. He winning Denver's first championship ever in franchise history last year, and building and leading the team that they built. I mean, that's extraordinary, and hopefully they can keep up their success. All right, guys, and I'm going to get through the last segment of tonight. UFC 295 was on Saturday. The main event was Alex Pereira. It was the main event of the night. He was defending his title. He did wind up winning by technical knockout or TKO. And it's funny because after the fight was over, Adesanya messaged or posted on social media saying that, I'm glad he's not, or y'all should be thankful that he's not in y'all's division anymore because I moved him out of there. Which Adesanya and Pereira have fought each other before. Adesanya lost to Pereira the first time, then they fought again. Adesanya won the second time, and then so Pereira wanted to move up and try a different division, and he's dominating it really well. He's a great fighter. So Pereira maintains his title, and then we could see Adesanya and Pereira fight again. You never know. It'd be great. It'd be a round 3. Who will decide it all in the tiebreaker? I would love to see that fight again. Oh. But guys, I hope everyone's having a fantastic time watching tonight. I do appreciate it as always. And like I said, I do apologize for not being able to post or do any videos last week, but I will tell you I'm back on schedule. We didn't have any kickball games tonight because due to how bad the weather's been going on here lately, we haven't been able to really do much. So the game's been postponed. So hopefully we'll be able to make them up. But we don't have any games next week because it's the Thanksgiving holidays. But guys, as always, I do want to say thank y'all so much. But thank y'all so much. I really do appreciate it. I hope appreciate y'all watching the live or the after broadcast and continue to watch these shows. I'm going to try to bring more guests on in the near future. It's just been hard lately because, everybody has difficult work schedules, trying to line things up, hey, adult stuff, But hey, we'll make it happen. I promise. But I do want to make a big announcement, y'all. So not Saturday, December 2nd, but December 9th, I will be adding a different segment for the channel. So just on Saturdays, one day a week, around during the day, starting on December 9th, I will be doing a extra segment on my channel for talking about Disney and Pixar movies. Give my honest critique, how much we love them, what's the synopsis of them, the theme, all that good stuff. I'm really excited about it. It's going to be great. I think it's going to go very well. I'm going to have guests on to talk about that, like what their favorite movies are, Disney, Pixar, just for those two, just movies made by Disney and Pixar, whether it's animation or live action. But I'm really excited about that. I can't wait to see what turns out for that. But that won't start until December 9th. And like I said, I'll just be doing it one day a week on Saturdays. But y'all, as always, look, thank y'all so very much. I hope y'all have a wonderful night. Thank y'all for tuning in. Make sure you leave a like, leave a comment, and subscribe to your boy if you haven't already. Trying to reach a 100 subscribers before the year is up. I do want to try to reach 100. So make sure you share this video with your friends, your family, anybody you're close with. It's very much appreciated. But y'all have a wonderful night, y'all. I will see everybody on Thursday. Peace.